Welcome back to the Rayo Vallecano Breakdown.
We just beat Barca twice in one season for the first time
Let's
ever.
Go. Dude, what
We're
did we
sorry,
just watch?
guys. Welcome back to the Barca Breakdown. It's a tough time for all of us, right? I mean, what a difference like a month makes. We were riding high on top of the world after the El Clasico victory. Thought we were going to make a Europa League final, and the wheels have fallen off the bus, right? And you look at this game today against Rayo, and you got to remember, right? Rayo is the team we lost to in the first half of the season, and Koeman was fired immediately afterwards. Mm-hmm. And now here we are with a clear chance to solidify our top four position, and we just kind of blew it away with an awful game where I think Alvaro Garcia scores a ball that Stegen should have stopped, that Dest was nowhere to be found, that their center backs were nowhere to be found, and then we just played the whole game with the cross and pray mindset, and I don't know what it is. I mean, if you look at the lineup, that was our A lineup, right? Like if you had to choose, okay, who are the best players besides the fact that, PK and Pedri are out, that's the lineup that the whole season in the last few weeks would have told you is the best lineup for us to play, and we come out and we just have an atrocious performance, and there's no doubt about it. The referee was god awful, right? Just incredible. That penalty that Xavi should have won in the 88th minute was waved off for an offside, and I don't know why, but no TV broadcasters showing that that's an offside play. There was none of that. Mm-hmm. Where the VAR lines are drawn and they show the offside, and didn't see any of that. But at the end of the day, our team's just not playing good enough, right? And you have to start to criticize all of our players and Xavi. Because if this was Ronald Koeman right now, we would have crucified him, right? Losing 3 games at home, I think for the first time ever. 3 games in a row at Camp Nou.
Mm-hmm. First time we ever lost to Rayo 2 times in one season. Some of the not-so-great teams in the league are making history against us. Yeah. And this is ridiculous. Like, our team is overall just underperforming. We have Ferran Torres, Aubameyang not doing anything the whole game, just chaotic, frustrated.
And after Cadiz, you could be like, okay, well, that was Xavi's first league loss in like 3 months.
Sure.
And we can deal with it. But, I mean, now it wasn't just Frankfurt. It wasn't just Cadiz. Now we have Rayo we lost to. I mean, we didn't do a video midweek. We barely squeak away with the game against La Real at Anoeta, which is a hard game to win. And, we were super stoked to win that, especially as Atletico and, Sevilla and Betis have been dropping some points lately. But what a god-awful performance.
Yeah, I just don't really know what to say, right? Like a lot of these players, I mean, Dembele, we usually are giving him plenty of praise, but in this game, he's off target, can't create much. He's also getting...
but at the same time, at least he's doing something. Ferran Torres and Aubameyang were literally non-existent, right? And, I mean, clearly one area that Xavi should certainly be criticized for is just not enough rotation. We keep playing Busquets every single game, and he has not been good in the last 3 weeks. We keep playing Ferran Torres every game. He could have scored a goal, but it was offside today. But besides that, really had very few touches. Yeah. I think in the first half, I mean, he had like 4 or 5 passes and not much else. And then Aubameyang as well has not turned out to look too good. And you see when we sub in Adama Traore and Memphis Depay, players who've been rested, that they perform a lot better than Torres and Aubameyang are doing, right? So I think the first takeaway I get is, well, we need to be rotating more. Like there was a point, maybe in February or March where we were talking about how we had this wealth of riches. We could sub in Traore, Dembele. We had Luc de Jong who's been playing well, and yet I just don't see any of that rotation, and it's certainly costing us games.
Yeah, I mean, our team looks fatigued for sure, but overall just underwhelming. Slow movement on the ball. Players are waiting for passes. No leading passes to Dembele.
No movement.
Yeah. And I'm thinking here, we're resetting the ball for them. We have possession, not doing anything with it. It really is Koeman ball in that first half. And then maybe near the end of the second half, we kind of picked it up a bit. But look, we did it really late. Clearly, the ref was not helping us in any case. Rayo was fouling us, wasting time the whole game. And we really just got worked, right? Defensively, they were covering us half the time. I think they had one shot on goal that scored in that 6th minute, and I think they only had one other opportunity late in the 90-plus minutes, and we couldn't score. How many shots went straight to the goalie? How many crosses the goalie blocked or caught? It just nowhere to be found for players connecting with each other. at this point.
I mean, it was, dude. I swear this is not a dramatic telling of what happened, but that was one of the worst games I've ever seen in my life. Right? I mean, I hope all of you guys can sympathize, and we were finding some joy, not even joy, but you have to laugh through these phases because of how bad things have been the last few weeks, but. My word, was that a bad game. You said it best, right? We had like 113 minutes to score one goal and we couldn't do it. That's a long time to go without a goal, right? Like, the very last minute, Dembele has an opportunity that gets cleared off the post, and we're just not creating anything. It's just so slow, right? You think about, might have been right at the end of the first half, but we see a moment where Dembele is moving on the counterattack, weaving through players, and it's just, that's one of the aspects of our game that's been frustrating me recently, is that it seems like we have no ability to counter anymore. And when you take away any counter, and that's where Ousmane Dembele is really good. I think that's where Ferran Torres with his movement and his passing and dribbling is really good. And that's where Aubameyang can also get free. And so when you cut out counterattacking and you cut out any quick transitions to get the ball forward, you just kind of set up. You have Frankie de Jong, who's didn't have a great game. You have Busquets, who's absent. You had Gavi, who actually was probably the best of the three. They're just kind of passing side to side. Jordi Alba's not really creating much. Serginho Dest, again, not doing too much. I mean, no one on this team performed well today, right? Ousmane Dembele gets criticized because he had an awful performance in terms of shooting. He at least was trying to create something.
Sure.
And I don't know. It's just such a fall from grace. And I think we need to, definitely be critical and be questioning of Xavi and what has been happening with the team in the last few weeks, because we've clearly lost the plot. Right,
Sure.
And 3 home games in a row lost at Camp Nou is just is extremely bad. Right, it's historically bad.
I mean, we're also, again, we've said this so many times. We're fighting for this top 4 spot. Atletico they drew, and we're barely a few points above them. It's just a bad position to be in and start losing these home games. And, the fans, even in the most of the game, I should say, were pretty silent, right?
Yep.
There's nothing riling us up. The stadium is maybe just over half full. Like this, people don't want to watch this Barca play like this, right? It's just so disheartening at home, losing these big games. And even this, I would consider just slightly not as important as Europa League loss against Frankfurt. But we can't be losing against the 14th team in the league, plus, letting up points to Cadiz, right? And I don't know, man.
That's the thing is some people will say, and there's some truth to be found in the fact that injuries have plagued this year poorly.
Sure.
And, Piqué and Pedri have not featured a lot recently. But you got those last few games where we had Pedri, right, where he's scoring. I think he scored the 1-0 goal against Sevilla. I think he scored a goal against, maybe it was Napoli or maybe Galatasaray. But, we were barely squeaking away with those wins. So even as true as it is that, we love Pedri and he's amazing, it's not like Pedri is the only reason this team is doing poorly, right? Him being out. And, I think we gotta figure things out. I mean, I don't know. Maybe do we get Abde up, Jutgla? Like, Nico is not really providing that much as a sub, in my opinion.
Sure.
Is Ricky Puig? Does he need to get some time here? But something has to change, and something has to change quickly, because there's no feeling I have right now that there's going to be some sort of fix with the same players starting over and over.
Well, yeah, and it just seems like the strategy is not changing. We're doing the same thing in these last few games, trying to cross the ball. We're off target. Nobody's there to receive the ball. No leading passing. The strategy is what we were talking about in the past, where it's cross and pray. And we're just expecting someone to receive the ball in the box. And, today the goalie did a wonderful job of, preventing everything. And you could also consider that the fact that we let up that goal that lost us the game is Ter Stegen's fault. But overall, the team is just not good enough in these last 3 games to really present themselves and be a competitor in the top 4. And
Well, here's my question for you. So, how much of this is the players or Xavi, right?
We love this question.
It's a question we have a lot, but as things keep sliding, where do we put the blame?
Yeah, I mean, the players really did play awfully. It's hard to take that away from the whole situation, because it was just clear that we had no passion to win the game, no passion to really play. I mean, Gavi, Dembele were the most energetic people on the pitch. I'm going to stack this one definitely in favor of the fact that our players did poorly. But, Xavi needs to make adjustments. It seems like we haven't changed our strategy in the last few games. Teams know how to play against us. What they do, obviously, is let us maintain possession, and then we just move the ball very slowly, no build-up, and then we have them counter us, and we can't counter back, right? So I'm going to say definitely mostly on the players because of the slow movement, but at the same time, Xavi needs to create a strategy to work around these defenses, right? We're getting beat against these defenses that are either parking the bus, man-marking us, not letting us move, right? Dembele always receiving the ball in a corner where there's two defenders already on him. There's got to be a better strategy to open up the pitch and, again, rotate players just because we're fatigued and we're not performing well, right?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think the clear thing that's plaguing us, and this is to put the blame more on the players, is just no one can finish.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Like, that's the thing. Is like there were enough chances created today for us to at least draw the game, if not win it, and just no one's putting the ball away. Dembele skying shots, Ferran Torres not finishing except for when he's offside, Aubameyang not providing much, Luke de Jong bicycle kicking someone in the face, like there's not enough players on our team who can score goals out and out. And I mean, of course, when you lose Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez, even Antoine Griezmann, who are, world-class players and who are great at finishing, you're going to feel that sting. But, Memphis Depay comes in. He's not finishing either. Traore, even though he has some good runs in that second half and he's creating some havoc, I've never really seen him put too many shots on target. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. I think in terms of who did well in the game, I thought Lenglet actually had a pretty good cameo. I thought he performed okay. But besides that, there's really not much here to be too happy about.
But the defenders didn't have to deal with much, right? I think they had 2 shots on goal. The first one went in, and the second one, way late in the game, it bounced off the post. They didn't have to do anything, right? Like, I totally agree with you, but at the same time, I don't think they were pressed enough. We had possession of the ball far too long and didn't do anything with it. We weren't able to create, and you're 100% right. We cannot finish. And we have players that can finish.
And, the other thing that's really... to draw back to Koeman and how we would criticize him if this was him managing is that we have kind of just reverted to cross and pray, right, these last few games. And I think there's no surprise that when we reverted to those tactics, we have had an awful time, right? Yeah. When you think about Real Madrid, the Valencia game, the Atletico Madrid game, we're constantly pressing to get the ball back when the opponent retains it. We are moving the ball forward with quick passes. I remember doing a solo video without you when you were gone about how like the players had kind of begun to intuitively understand where the other players are moving and to be able to connect with them quickly. Any of that type of progress we've entirely lost in the last month. And so, I'm not exactly sure how we get it back. I'm not sure exactly what we can do, but there's a very real possibility here we don't get Champions League next season, and that would be absolutely catastrophic. Like, we would not be able to get any signings. We would not be able to get any, revenue that we need. And so, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be tough for Xavi to figure it out. I just think that we need to get more fans in the stadium to try and amp the players up at home and hopefully, one of our guys, right? We would just need 1 or 2 games of Dembele or Ferran Torres or Aubameyang going on a streak like they did in March, and I think we would be right back into things, right? I feel like the team, a little bit like us fans, have kind of gotten to this lull where like it's just not – there's not that excitement anymore about the games, right? Like I feel like what we talked about before this game, I was like, man, I'm really not excited to see this game happen right now because I basically had a good feeling that what occurred was going to occur. And that's not a good space to be in. So I hope we can figure it out. I'd love if you guys in the comments let us know what you guys think about the game. Smash that subscribe button. Hopefully we'll get up through this all together. Thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.